Beis, ubezohar Parshas Balak, Taf Guf Pei Zayin Aleph. And in Zohar Balak, Perush Inyan HaChacham Einav Berosho, it explains the idea that the wise man, his eyes are in his head, the Shchinta Sharya al Reshei, that the divine presence rests upon his head, V'chol Chakim Inoi Umiloi Berosho Inun, and all wise men, their eyes and their words are towards their head. Behahu Sharya V'kaim al Reshei, that is, to the one who's resting and exists upon their head. So their eyes are towards their head means their eyes are towards the Shechina. Ramaz Pirish al derech bihilo niro al roshi, and the Ramaz and his Pirish there in Zohar Balak explains that it's like the verse in Eov that he lifts his candle upon my head when I was in the womb. And look what it says in the Mamar, that you are my candle, Hashem. B'sefer shel Beinonim Sof Perek Nun Gimel. V'ayin b'medrash Rabbah Sof Parshas Emor Sof Parsha Lamed Beis B'nei menorah Saha V'gula al Rosha. And look what's brought in Midrash Rabbah Emor concerning the menorah of Zechariah with the gula on its head, that there was dripping oil into it. Mefarish Gamkin Rosha. What does it mean? The head of the menorah, Zehu Hashchina, and that refers to the divine presence. V'sham Chad Amar Gula Lashon Galus Hashchina, and over there it says that one opinion is that Gula is from the language of the exile of the Shechina, the Galus. V'chad Amar Geula, and the other says that Gula is from the language of Geula, of redemption. Gualinu Hashem Tzvos Chulu. Your Shem Tzvos is our Redeemer. Adva Hashem B'Rosham, until the end of the Medrash, where it brings the verse that Hashem is at their head, hinting to this as well. And since we learn from the Zohar and the Medrash that Shechina is called his head, and the explanation of the wise man, his eyes are in his head, is that he needs to do good deeds, like the concept of do not lack oil upon your head. So you need, meaning to say, the oil is the good deeds for the Shechina that's upon your head. Al pi zeh yesh lomar, according to this we can say, we can explain Hamish Narish Perek in Omdin Lispalel Ela Mitוך Kówed Rosh, where it says that we don't stand to pray unless it's from the heaviness of the head. The Perush Harav Hamagid b'Sefer Ohr Hatorah B'Remzei Agados Chazal Taf Lamed Vav Amud Beis V'Zeh Lashono, that the Rav Hamagid of Mizrich in Ohr Hatorah explains in his hints of Agados, and he says Perush Al Tispalel B'Shvil Davar Shechaser Lecha, that it says only pray from Kówed Rosh, that is, don't pray for something that's lacking to you, Ki lo yikubal tfilasecha, because your prayers will not be accepted. Ela kasher tirtze leispalel tispalel al hakvedus sheyesh b'rosh, but rather when you pray on the heaviness that there is in the head, meaning the head, meaning not for you personally, but that which is beyond you. Ki hadavar shechaser lecha hachesron yish b'shchina kiviyachol, because that which you're lacking, that lack is also in your head, in the Shechina, so to speak. Because the man is a portion of Elokah from above. And the lack which is in the portion, there isn't, it isn't in the entirety of it. That called Margish HaChesron Shel HaChelek, and the entirety feels the lack that's in the portion. If so, your prayer should be of the lack, that of the entirety. Adkan Lashono, and not you personally, not just the portion of the divine, but the entirety of it, the Shechina. And we can explain that this is also the idea of what it says by the curses. of all the things that you would do in desperation when you're lacking all, when you're lacking this call. But it also refers to the concept of Hashba. Ki hine yidua b'perush kol hanikra b'shmi u'b'perush ki kol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, because we know in the explanation of the verse that everything that's called in my name, even so forth, and in the verse that all in the heavens and the earth, shebechinas kol shu tzadik yisod olam, mushich hashefa b'ashchina, that the concept of kol, that's the tzaddik, the foundation of the world, draws down the flow into the Shechina. So kol hanikra b'shmi is the call, the yisod hanikra, that calls out and draws down b'shmi into the name of the Shechina. And kol b'shamayim v'aretz is drawing down from the tiferes of shamayim into the arts of malchus. And for this reason, the Shechina is also called the all in the all, the flow that comes in. That this is the concept that the Avram had a daughter and Ubachal was her name. Again, a concept Ubachal, Shema, the Yisod into Shema of the name of Malchus. And she's also called the Kala, which is called with the Hey, because this is Yisod of Nukva, of the Bas of Avraham. Ubechinas ונהר יחרב yavesh. I think it's brought in the Mamar Ubeagia Tor Esther towards the end. It explains this idea as well of the Bas Avraham. Ubechinas ונהר יחרב yavesh, and the concept of the river that is desolate and dry. So in choser kol, it's a concept of lacking this call, lacking the yisod, the hashpa from above. V'zeu kובד שיש בראש, and that's the heaviness that there is in the head. There's a lacking in the Shechina, so to speak, of the call of the entirety. So you pray in מתוך כובד Rosh, you only pray with this idea. Vayin b'sefer Torah Chaim b'mesechet Sanhedrin perek nigmar adin b'inyan Shechina. And look in Torah Chaim in Sanhedrin nigmar adin, where it talks about the Shechina. Mahalashon omeres, what is this language that says kalani meroshi kalani mizroi, that I'm embarrassed from my head, I'm embarrassed from my arm, keneged tefillin shel rosh v'tefillin shel yad, that corresponds with the head tefillin and the tefillin of the hand, ulechei nemar v'shemen al rosh chal yechsar, and therefore it says that you should not be lacking oil upon your head, elu tefillin, that refers to the tefillin on the head, because with this you won't have this embarrassment on my head, that the Shechina says. It's, so to speak, the Shechina speaking that she's embarrassed because of this lack. So when you put on tefillin, it fixes that idea. Yigdalna, so you have this idea of greatening. Yud Rabasi, it has a big Yud in Yigdalna. The Hainu Tosef is the Or Beser Spheros, that is the extra light in the 10 Spheros. Tefillin Shel Yad Yud Ze'era, and the Tefillin Shel Yad has a small Yud. So the head Tefillin has a big Yud, and the Tefillin Shel Rosh has the small Yud. Al Shem Yud HaOr Beser Spheros, that refers to the lessening of the light in the 10 Spheros. Al Derech V'Kad Antistalik Menayu, like the idea of when you remove yourself from them in Pesach Eliyahu. Nimsa tefillah lahamshich b'ashchina b'chinas rov kol. So it's found then that the idea of prayer is to draw down into the Shechina the concept of greater than kol, the greatness of kol. Meaning the yigdalna, the Rosh, the greatness of the Rosh, the big Yud, kol hanikra b'shmi, all that's called in my name, the kol hanikra b'shmi. V'hu b'chinas ונהר יוצא מעדן, and this is the idea of the river that comes out of Eden, lahashkos esagan, to water the garden, as opposed to nahar yechrav yavesh, the lack of the hashpa of yisod. Now you have the river that comes out of Eden, the concept of the call, the flow to malchus in the Shechina. But and the nar is like the concept of bina to the gan, which is malchus, so it's three yesod. V'zeu gamkin pirush hachacham inav b'rosho, and this is also the idea of the wise man. His eyes are in his head. V'nu lahamshich b'chinas v'geula al rosha, and that is to draw down this idea of the redemption upon its head, like that opinion that the gula is the geula, and you're drawing down to the rosha as the shechina, according to the medrash. V'hinei ha'hefesh bein gola legeula zehu inyan os ha'alef. Now the difference between this gola, this gula that's on the head of the menorah, ha'hefesh bein gula legeula zehu inyan ha'os ha'alef. The only difference is this letter aleph. V'ayin mashakaz of the kaman. The shekel hakodesh zehu beis yudin shel ha'alef. Look what it says later on, that in this Mamar, that the holy shekel of Parshas Sisa refers to the two yuds that are in the aleph, shalidei machatisa shekel, that through this half shekel yud tachtona de ha'aleph, that's the lower yud of the aleph, lechabra le'etzem ha'aleph, v'yud elyona, to attach it to the aleph itself, and the higher yud, like we said here, that you have this yigdal na, the big yud of the shel Rosh, and you have the yud zeira of the shel yad. You go so when you're mechaber it to the le'etzem ha'aleph yud elyona gorim nesias rosh, so that causes a lifting up of the head, that you shouldn't have the kówed rosh anymore, ki Tisa, so shkulu, that you lift up the head, and so forth, with a machatisa shekel. Isrim Gera, Vayin Mashikaz b'makom acher b'likudei Torah Parshas v'eschanan b'dibur ha'maschil v'zos ha'mitzvah al tikri ma'el ha'meya. Look what's brought in v'eschanan on in the Mamar about how don't read it read it 100. Zeu gamkein zeu tosefes osa aleph. Also, you're adding an aleph to the ma to make it mea, just like gula legeula or gola legeula. To make it from one opinion, it could also be from the one opinion that's gola to make it to the other opinion that it's geula. Like the Rebbe explains, Abe b'chinas mashu mem nase mea, that from the ma, which is a mem, becomes 100. K'inyan amavor b'zohar Parshas Vaychaye, Tav Kuf Kaf Gimel Aleph, Binyan v'yihu chaye sora mea shana.